Tina and I visited Iceland for about 9 days, beginning August 30th. Tina had planned a counterclockwise route beginning at the main airport in Keflavik on the west coast. After arrival, we drove about 2 hours to our first hotel near the town of Hella, with a couple of stops along the way. The hotel is situated on a large farm along a stream with sheep and horses, and they were very cooperative, posing for photos for us. The hotel had rooms in the main building as well as guest cottages along the side. The main building also included a nice restaurant where we ate that night, followed by a sauna in the back of the hotel. Here's Tina driving the Land Rover through the sheep fields. The route for the second day was longer, about 4 hours of total driving from Hella to a hotel near Hoffen, with sightseeing and hiking along the way. One of the stops was a town called Vik on the south coast, which is famous for its black sand beach and iconic rock formations. Normally, puffins are found nesting on these cliffs, but they had mostly migrated a week or two before we arrived. Nevertheless, there were plenty of seagulls along these cliffs, and they seemed very interested in checking out the drone, even dive bombing it a few times. The next stop along the ring road was Fjaðrárgljúfur Canyon. We parked at the bottom and climbed the trail about 1 kilometer to the path along the east rim of the canyon. The lighting and the views were really spectacular. The canyon reminded me a bit of the slot canyons in Zion, only instead of the red desert rock, this one had black lava rock, and there was this intense green moss and lichens growing all over it. And it contrasted with the water. It's like crystal clear blue glacial meltwater on the riverbed. From there, we drove the final leg to the hotel. The hotel was located right on the ring road on the east side of the island. We ate dinner at their in-house restaurant. I happened to check the Iceland Aurora website and found that the prediction for that night was for very strong aurora activity, but unfortunately very cloudy skies. Nevertheless, I set up a camera to record a time-lapse video running from around 10:30 at night to about 5:30 in the morning. Luckily, there was partial clearing between about midnight and 3 a.m., and you can see the auroras and the stars through the openings in the clouds in this time lapse. The next day, we did several hikes nearby. First, we visited Vestrahorn Mountain Nature Preserve on the coastline east of Hoffen. One of the interesting sights there is a Viking village that was recreated as a movie set. You can see the use of sod roofs here, which is still a common practice in the region. Next, we backtracked a bit to get to several sites in the Vatnajokull National Park. Access to these sites was on a pretty rugged gravel road where we had to cross some dry riverbeds that gave the Land Rover a pretty good workout. The first stop was Heinebergsten Glacier, or actually the glacial lake where it ends. We were literally the only people there except for a kayak group that we couldn't see beyond the back of the glacier. Not far away, on another F-road, was a small but beautiful waterfall out in the middle of nowhere, and again, we were the only people there as far as the eye could see. Our route on the following day was to first visit Hoffen, then drive to our next hotel on Lake Lagerfjord, south of Egilsstaðir. Along the way, we stopped by some rock formations and some smaller falls. One interesting site that Tina found in Hoffen was this abandoned cod liver oil tank called Tankerin. It's been converted into a performing arts site. The acoustics in the tank are unique. Very long reverberation time, and the only light available came from the open door, so shooting video in this almost complete darkness was quite challenging. Take a listen.
Greetings from Iceland. We're in the eastern fjord town of Djúpivogur, and that starts with a D as in dad. Anyways, I'm standing in what used to be was originally built as a fish oil tank. I don't know how the fishing industry decided to reprocess fish oil, but this has been repurposed into a performing arts center. It prides itself on its wonderful acoustics. Behind us, we've got the chairs for the audience, and here's the wide open stage. My guess is there might be a light here, maybe not. They might bring their own lights for it.
Up the coast a short distance was Tigerhorn Nature Preserve, where we stopped for a bit to hike around and look at the rock formations. Again, we were the only ones there, and then we continued up to our hotel on Lake Lagerfjord. We had a very nice dinner at the restaurant there. Our route the following day was to go visit the Halsland Reservoir and Dam, which are actually pretty hard to find even on Google Map. The drive was about 40 kilometers on a paved road, and we didn't see a single car the whole way. Very desolate but beautiful area in the Highlands. When we reached the dam, we were the only people there besides workers, and a single motorcycle showed up shortly after. It was raining, but I did manage to get the drone up and follow the overflow spillway to the gorge below. This is a 630-foot tall dam, and the reservoir, it's pretty controversial, built by Alcoa to power an aluminum smelter that's about 40 kilometers away, connected by a tunnel. It's the largest hydropower facility in Iceland. The immense water flow just to the spillway rivals some of the biggest waterfalls in Iceland. And this isn't being used for power, this is just the overflow that's not being used by the hydro plant. After the dam, we drove back to the hotel and we did a 4-kilometer, pretty steep hiking trail by the hotel before dinner. The next day, our route was to travel from Egilsstaðir to Akureyri, with the main stop at Dettifoss, which is a large waterfall in the Highlands. You can access it on the east side by gravel road or the west side by paved road. First, we stopped at a small unmarked fall along the route and got this scenic video. And then on to Dettifoss, which was a truly impressive falls with the largest water flow in Iceland. From there, we headed straight north to the ring road along the north coast of Iceland. This is the Greenland Sea, and we're right on the edge of the Arctic Circle. The views and the color of the water are beautiful. And once again, notice that the path has no guardrails or anything, just a sheer drop off of 100 or more feet to the beach below. We arrived in Akureyri in the evening and had a really fabulous dinner at a restaurant connected to the hotel. One of the attractions is the church in Akureyri. It's a state-run church similar to our Lutheran churches here. It was built around 1940, but still looks quite modern. It's in beautiful condition with impressive stained glass windows. We attended a packed Sunday service there with all the locals. After spending the weekend in Akureyri, we headed to the airport, which was just a few kilometers down the road. Definitely the easiest airport ever. No lines, no security, one gate. We literally just walk out, get on the plane, and then head to Rekjavik, the domestic terminal, which is also very easy. In Rekjavik, one of the sites we visited is their beautiful harp concert hall. So that was the end of our trip. We flew back to the U.S. the next morning from Keflavik to JFK, back home to RDU.